Hey everyone, Dylan here. So I wanted to do a review upon AEW as a brand for a long time. I think technically, yeah, I'll count this, sure. Since All Out, or my apologies, All In happened in like 2019 to set up AEW technically. I wanted to like start this review series back then. So I guess there's no time like the present considering AEW is literally at its peak both in content wise and view wise, like viewer wise. So why not just do it now? Tonight's show was a freaking amazing show, and honestly, I say tonight's show, but you know it was like last Wednesday. Whatever. Anyway, it was an amazing show. One that'll honestly go down in the history books for good and for bad reasons, but you know what? Not because it was a bad show, just behind the scenes stuff I'll get to later on. With that being said, we're gonna run down this show. And actually, asterisk real quick. Before we run down the show, I would like to specify two things. Well, I say two things, but it's literally one thing combined into twice. So, for the opener and the main event, my quote unquote script here, which I just broke it down into highlights this week, contains, I'd like to say 6 or 7 paragraphs, because the opener of this show was 30 minutes and the closer was about 20, and it was nothing but, in a positive manner, it was nothing but spots and highlights the whole time. So it's going to go from like very descriptive stuff to like, oh, it was a good match. Here were some cool spots. And then back to descriptive for the main event. So, yeah, just heads up if that kind of bothers you. Anyway, let's get into this week's show. So it starts off with the intro package, like always, and then we kick over to the pyro with JR introducing us. We have as I'm going to say, the usual team of AEW commentators, Tony Schiavone, Excalibur, and good old JR himself. They run down the matches taking place tonight, and we started off with the 10-man tag team match between the Dark Order and the Elite. Now, before I say this part, I'm going to specify several things. Number one, I was very confused why this was the opener. As soon as I heard it was the opener, I'm not going to lie to you, it kind of gave away the finish of the match to me. Not exactly how they'd play it out, but the basic premise of it was given away as soon as I saw it was the opener. But with that being said, you know, I'll let it play out instead of being a critique. I was just curious automatically, like, why was this the opener? Also, I'm going to try to verbally describe the Dark Order's intro here and the Elite's intro here. My description will not do them justice. Please go out of your way to watch them. Like, they are so fucking good at, like, capturing your feelings, which I'll break into real quick, okay? So it starts off, it shows an opening package about what it takes to be a cowboy. And the whole time it's like flashing images of each of the Dark Order member, and there's like a cowboy behind them tilting their hat, which it kind of looks like Hangman, but anyway, it shows all of them, and then at the end it shows Hangman, and then we transition to the ring scene, which it has a spotlight, and like the spotlight's like left side, right side, one person each time. It does it for all 7 of the members of the Dark Order, and then Hangman comes out of the middle to one of the loudest pops I think I've ever heard. Like, that place was deafening tonight. And then they get on the ring apron and do the Dark Order claw, as I'm going to patent it. I'm just kidding. They do the Dark Order claw thing, and when they do, I'm not gonna lie, I was already emotional as it was, but I might have teared up a little bit when I saw that. I love the fact that they do these big emotional event things, and no matter what, they have Mr. Brody Lee with them. Like, not literally, but like, one of them wears a t-shirt or something to signify, like, his face in the shot of this significant moment. No matter what happens, it's really touching. And then we go from this very emotional moment that makes you kind of want to almost cry or, like, look at somebody and, like, punch them. We go from that to legitimately, like, the funniest shit I've seen in a while. So it announces the Elite, like the Toon Squad got announced on the first Space Jam. And then they come out. So when they come out, they're wearing the Toon Squad jerseys, but it's Elite Squad instead. And they have an advertisement for AEW. Let's try that again. They have an advertisement for Space Jam. Keep it, Dylan. And, yeah, it's just whoever's on their marketing team, such geniuses. Rather, they said that one later on tonight was not planned. But, I mean, come on, you can't tell me it wasn't when you get to it. But yeah, they come out as Space Jam members, Elite Squad members. And they even have, like, the little, the sports team banner thing they all run through, which Kenny friggin' charges at it. And then I think Nakazawa brings down a goal for them. And they start doing, like, trick shots and hoops and basketball things there. Okay, I have it written down here, like, when each person got eliminated. Oh, by the way, Don Callis has joined the announce team just for this match. But yeah, I'm going to give you more than less a breakdown of who gets eliminated and how it goes. Alright, so Hangman starts out the match, and, like, the crowd is so invested in, like, Kenny starting the match, but he does that heel thing where it's like, oh, I'm gonna start. I'm just kidding, I'm not. And then Carl starts. So him and Hangman go back and forth a little bit, and basically it goes the Elite are helping the Elite out a lot of times, and then the Dark Order help the Dark Order out a little bit. So the ref kind of throws out the rules for this match. I forget what specific style it was, but somebody alluded to that online, and I mean, hey, if it's a legal form of wrestling, then alright, whatever. So after they fight for a little bit, Matt Jackson distracts Hangman, and Kenny flanks Hangman from behind. Like, he runs around the ring and hits him on the other side. Then all the Dark Order comes in, and all the Elite come in, and we just have one big brawl that leads with Luke Gallows and Stu Bennett outside. And the ref is very lenient, like I said. But anyway, the Elite that are in the ring try for a suplex spot, but the Dark Order reverse it into their own suplex spot. So they brawl out to the outside of the ring, a bunch of shenanigans happens, and somehow Reynolds ends up suplexing Nick Jackson upon all of them on the outside of the ring. And let me just tell you, this crowd is into the whole match, and they, like, lose their shit over everything. Unlike JR, which will become a common theme for this show. So, Reynolds gets tagged in, and Carl throws Reynolds into the corner, and all the Elite do, like, the corner splash thing on him, except for Doc Gallows. It gets reversed. And then all the Dark Order do a splash onto him. Carl tries to save him, but gets thrown into him. And then Silver and Reynolds do their tag team move, that big 5 flipping finisher move, to only get a 2 count. Due to shenanigan roll-ups, however, Reynolds is the first one out of the Dark Order to get eliminated. And the Elite go crazy slapping Carl's ass. So technically now, isn't that a tag-in? And one of them are illegal now? Whatever. Uno becomes the legal participant now, and the Dark Order take out the Elite and surround Anderson. Uno and Stu end up doing a tag team move. That's one of their 3 cool finishers, or however many cool finishers they have, and it ends up getting rid of Carl to make it even. So now Mac Jackson is the legal member for the Elite, and Uno tags in Silver. And Silver just freaking powerhouse, like, throws Matt from corner to corner. And we get a commercial break. Then we come back. Uno gets tagged, and him and Stu do the powerbomb gimmick finisher thing they do for a 2 count. So Silver gets tagged back in, and he does some kicks until Stu and Uno get tagged in. I don't know which one's the legal participant because both came in at the same time. But they do some cool moves, and it gets another 2 count. So it's weird, right? Like, Hangman comes in, and after some shenanigans, and the referee argues with him, because it's, what I mean by some shenanigans is, like, the leader, like, taking advantage of the referee not paying attention. So, like, Hangman starts to, like, come in the ring, and then the ref's like, hey, you need to go back to your corner, which is weird, because that's okay, whatever. Forget the stuff that's already happened. Anyways, Stu beats up Matt for a bit more until Matt gets control and tags out to Gallows. Stu fights back as we come back from commercial break, by the way. So Stu and Gallows go back and forth for a bit, and then Uno and him does some tag team move that gets a 2 because it gets interrupted by Kenny. Then Silver comes back in and does a standing sliced bread, which was freaking cool. If you ever want to pop me, just keep on doing that. And then Nick super kicks him and tries to Uno, but Uno catches it and throws it to the ref, which technically shouldn't that be like some warning or disqualification? Well, whatever, I'm thinking too much about this. He uses that opportunity to get a swinging net breaker in. And then Gallus comes in and does this uppercut gimmick to everybody. And then he runs at Stu, who does who throws him outside, I'm getting ahead of myself, and does a springboard corkscrew and legitimately eats shit here. Like, he no one catches him and he just headbutts the freaking concrete. God, it was such a cool spot, and then no one caught him. Stu and Gallows fight through the crowd, and Stu dives off the second row of the crowd if he can freaking like hurt himself enough for this match. Anyway, both of them get counted out in the crowd. In case you're keeping score at this point, that makes it a 3-even situation. So Omega and Uno are fighting each other as they plug the matches for later on tonight on commentary. Uno gets a 2 on Omega, and then he tries for a senton, which Omega gets the knees up, and V triggers him and gives him one winged angel for the 3 to make it a 2-on-3. Matt tags in, Silver explodes with a spear like as soon as he comes in, and starts slugging him with some worked punches. And they get up, Silver elbows Matt, only to get thumbed to the eye. Matt distracts the ref by getting Hangman started doing like that come in thing on the ropes again, while Silver gets cold sprayed to the face. Then Nick tags in and insults Hangman to make him do the same thing, the exact same thing, which makes like 3 times this happened. But you know, whatever, I'm still enjoying it. But Nick ends up like legitimately stomping on Silver's head. And the crowd just is explosive for Hangman to finally get in. Nick gains control as we go to ad break. And I swear, they're already way more sparing than the W was for Friday. Golly, like, this Friday was good, but Friday before last, don't get me started. Anyways, we come back and Silver is cleaning the Elite, and the crowd are on fire. So, apparently during the break, the Bucks powerbombed Hangman onto the apron. I had to think of what it was called, sorry. And he's out for a bit. So the Elite took him out by him being Silver's, by V-triggers galore and a huge German. And then Matt sets up for the Indie Taker outside as Nick gets ready, and freaking Cutler pulls up a basketball goal? So yeah, I thought they were going to use that as a weapon when they introduced it. But no, Kenny throws up a ball off the apron, and they do the Indie Taker onto the concrete as Nick shoots the ball in and freaking misses, and the crowd makes him freaking know this the whole time. But anyway, they plant Silver, and then Nick saves it by dunking it in afterwards, but the crowd still chants like, "You still missed, you still missed." And I love how much the crowd's eating up freaking everything they do. They roll in Silver, and he tags in his brother. I'll be honest, I think Matt tagged in Nick. I just had a typo there, but whatever. Then they do the BTE trigger to make it a 3-on-1 against Hangman. And he checks on Silver, and that makes him mad that like Silver's hurt, so he uses that energy to like fight against them. And they are very subliminal about stuff throughout this whole match. Like, not in the perverse type of manner, but they're subliminal when it comes to like hinting towards stuff. Like, for example, right here, they had a perfect spot to where Hangman could have completely done the buckshot lariat to Kenny Omega, but he didn't because he knew that so it was like Nick and Matt on each side of him, and Kenny was in the middle, like they were ready for him to do it. So Omega tags himself in, and so Omega ends up tagging himself in, and we have them against each other now. So they talk shit for a bit, and Omega spits in Hangman's face, and then they have a fight to where Hangman almost gets the lead. I can't read, sorry. Until the Bucks interfere. Yeah, they keep this pattern going for a bit and keep on doing heavy moves to Hangman, but he keeps on fighting out of them. And he gets a hope spot and takes them outside and moonsaults onto them. And his moonsaults are so beautiful. I think it's technically a Hasei moonsault, but it's just so effortlessly. Mwah, I love it. And he rolls in Omega to try for an Alabama Slam, which Omega, I guess, deadlifts him or somehow reverses it. And then he tries to powerbomb him, but Hangman reverses that. So Omega just runs at him instead, and he gets popped up powerbombed for a 2 count only because of the Bucks saving him. So Matt Jackson tags in, throws Hangman out, and it gets reversed into a tease for the Undertaker. But Hangman ends up just booting Nick, and then he hits them both with a lariat, to which Matt gets counted for the 3. So Omega tries to hit him with one of the belts that Omega has, with no prevail because the referee ends up taking it away after a bit. And then he pulls out a different belt that he misses with the swing, and he gets put into Alabama Slam pile driver thing that Hangman does for a 2. And Hangman tries the buckshot, but his leg gets held by Matt, which is apparently a reference to when Matt tried to Undertaker Kenny for the title back when Hangman and him were a tag team. I think is the reference. I watched back then. I just don't remember because I have old memory. Anyway, he gets taken back into the ring, and he has the one-winged angel done to him after... sorry, I forgot to mention the important thing. So when he's on the apron, he gets hit with the title, and then he gets brought back into the ring for a one-winged angel for the count. I appreciate the storytelling elements of this, which are through the freaking roof. I'm sorry this is already 30 minutes. Oh, God. Before, editing my little cuts out. But, God, it's so... Legitimately, this match was 30 minutes long, and I just told you all the spots. It was too good not to. We transition after that match, with everyone leaving the ring, and it goes to Alex Marvez talking to Pac. So apparently the Lucha Bros were supposed to be there, but someone canceled their car. I wonder who that was. Oh, hey, Andrade. How are you doing? Chavo, on behalf of Andrade, tells Pac that they've been given a limo to come to the arena with, and that Pac needs to try to impress them more, basically. Then we go to this DJ area where Taz introduces Ricky Starks, the new FTW champion, to the ring for a celebration. And apparently Taz brought him a band the whole time. So Starks gets to the ring, and he comes out, and he looks like $1,000,000. I love him. I love his gimmick. And he comes out with what's left of Team Taz, except for Hobbs. Because Hobbs, I forgot what their excuse was, but he was doing something. Oh, and there's balloons. They got the whole shebang. They got balloons on the turnbuckle, a band, it's a party. Anyway, he talks about winning and getting rid of Cage, and that he knew his role in this place, unlike Cage. Apparently he could forgive a bunch of things, except the fact that Cage didn't check up on him when he broke his neck. Apparently they were having audio issues because the crowd said they can't hear him, and he said that's because they're all inbreds. Anyway, the insults continue until Cage comes out and kills the band, because he literally puts the drummer through the bass drum, and he grabs the trombone to use on Starks, but Starks throws the roses he came out with earlier in his face, and they both run down the hall to get away. We then go to a Tanahashi promo, where he challenges whoever wins the match later on tonight for the IWGP US Championship. We come back from that, and FTR comes out with Tully Blanchard and the rest of the Pinnacle. And the rest of the Pinnacle go back except for Tully, and they come out and kill it up. Then Santana Excuse me, my tongue got twisted. Then Santana and Ortiz comes out with Conan, and they hype up the crowd. This match is a pretty good match, all things considered. They light each other up with chops, and it's just a good old wrestling match. Commentary sells that this is a Pinnacle and Inner Circle issue. The match lasts through a picture-in-picture, second one of the night, and an ad break, the fourth one, I believe. And we come back to the action. Again, it's normal match, except to the point where Cash gets pushed off the turnbuckle, and a part of the turnbuckle hard gigs his wrist. It looks like he cut. I don't like talking about this stuff, so heads up. I'm talking about the inner workings of the body for just 1 second. If you want to skip ahead 10 seconds, he looks like he cuts an artery or something on this. How much blood comes out? It was not planned. But I don't know if this part was or if they just improvised in the ring, but Dax does some work real quick by himself, like a 2-on-1 situation, and then rolls him up fast and checks on Cash. As we try to go to a promo earlier that was shot with Dr. Britt Baker. I cannot talk, so give me a second. Alright, so she ends up hyping up her wrist injury and talks about the both of them being injured and how they need to get another hand. But she hypes up Nyla Rose's move because that's what broke her wrist. But it's so much better than the 5 seconds I just gave it credit for, which is funny because they give it maybe 5 minutes if we're lucky. And then we go to ad number 5, and oh my god, they're trying to catch up with WWE this early. Anyways, we come back and Tony hypes up that they're in North Carolina, and they talk about Rampage on August 20th, and we get it from Chicago for the first dance. And I swear the CM Punk references go crazy through that night, not to mention how many times the crowd chants CM Punk. Anyway, we cut to Alex Marvez, where he's talking to Darby and Sting, and Darby basically says that the best in the world come to fight at AEW. And the crowd loses it when he says the best in the world. And then we transition into our IWGP title match. So Hikuleo came out with King Haku, which is awesome. Miss seeing him. And then Lance Archer comes out, and freaking the crowd and him look hyped as hell. JR calls him the reincarnation of Stan Hansen. And I mean, alright. They're both freaking Americans that are, by technicalities, wrestling in Japan. Both big guys. That's literally the only comparisons I see. But I mean, alright, JR. No disrespect. So he throws the US title into the ring, and the ref tries to grab it, but he lunges at the ref. I had to think of what that was by actually lunging there. And the ref's like, oh, my bad. But he picks up his title, and this is just a big man match the whole time. King Haku shoves Archer against the barricade, and it's a foot away, so he has to football rush him into it, basically. And Archer gets in the ring. They have one commercial break, so it's not that bad. And apparently JR makes a comparison that's so out of left field that I don't even quote it, but it was apparently bad. I don't remember what it was. But yeah, this is a good match, good showcase for Hikuleo, and it makes Archer looks like a threat for Tanahashi next week, because he ends up winning the match. Then transition to Marvez talking to Cody, where literally Cody's like, hey, you know what? And then Malachi cuts him off with a kick. He literally brings him down to the ramp, and then Black masses Fuego, but before that, he knees Cody in the face a couple times. Everybody from the back comes out. That's jobbers, to be honest. And then he black masses Fuego. Rest in peace, Fuego. During this brawl, Cody does that stupid drop punch thing, and it's cool in the ring, but it's not a thing to do when you're fighting somebody. Because literally, if you drop to the floor while I'm fighting you, I'm just gonna, deck you right in the face. And it's so stupid. I hate it. But, the segment was cool, and Black's eye looks more messed up. It's kind of cool. We come back from an ad, and Miro has a video promo talking about how he will defend his title next week and he will kill whoever goes against him. And then he calls his wife double jointed. Alright, fair enough. We come back, and the Hardy family office are having a match against Jurassic Express and Marco Stunt. I don't know if he's technically officially a member, but whatever. Um, but he's the manager in this case scenario. Oh, also Christian is there too. Apparently, QT Marshall will apologize next weekend next week to Tony about the protein shake that poured on him last week. Okay. Angelico and Christian started out, and Christian smacks the shit out of him. Apparently, Christian Cage is undefeated. Will that continue tonight? Short answer is yes. But let's go over just little highlights. So, Jungle Boy, first of all, is so over, I swear. The teams are a good heel and face dynamic, you know. The heels do heel work and the faces do face work, and it's I like the work in the ring. Unlike JR, who just hey, it's a pretty good match. Like, just monotone shit on it. Christian ran off Matt on ringside, which comes back later on today. And Luchasaurus apparently does a triple German suplex to the Hardy family office that's in the ring. And the crowd are popping majorly for that. Luchasaurus does a choke slam while Jungle Boy flips over the top ropes and does a flip over the top rope, and Christian tags in for a frog splash for the win. He starts high-fiving fans around the ring until one knocks him out with brass knuckles. Ooh. It sets up a match next week. I believe the Butcher will go against Christian. Cue ad break. We come back and Nick fucking Gage is threatening Jericho for a bit. And we have a killer promo then. We have Julia Hart with the Varsity Blondes against Thunder Rosa. But we have a promo beforehand. The Varsity Blondes hype her up. This is a good match to show how dominant Thunder Rosa is. Plus, the crowd just freaking popped for her. Thunder Rosa also gives the video package before this saying, you know, basically she alluded to the fact that she signed to the company and she's going to kick some ass. That's a basic way of putting it, but it's way better than that. She's a good promo, and shocker, I know. But this was a good pro beats up rookie, and God, Thunder Rosa's chops are so loud, even for TV standards. I'd love to be in that ring just to hear it. Anyway, during this match, they talk about Jericho and Nick fucking Gage later on tonight, that MJF will be on the commentary the whole time. So Thunder Rosa is just so good. She's a winner, but gosh, she's so stiff in the ring. I love watching it. Compliments all around. Chef's kiss. Mwah, beautiful wrestling. The only complaint I have is that this match was short, and they're not giving their women's division enough time, but, you know, same old complaints. They advertise a lot of matches for next week before we go into our main, but I'm not going to advertise them. Also, my phone told me to go to sleep there. Yeah, no. Anyway, they plugged the main event, and we hit ad 6. We come back from the ad, and Moxley complains about how he can't go to Japan, but the Olympics can. And he says basically Tanahashi's lucky that he can't go after him as the U.S. champ. But he's done with the beef, or is he? And if this is a heel turn for Moxley, I'm kind of here for it, you know? Alright, we come back to the main event, and Jericho comes out as the Painmaker. Which, to be honest, to begin with, I was gonna, shit on this if it wasn't what I expected a Nick fucking Gage match to be. But, anyway, him and Gage are out, and MJF comes out with popcorn to watch this. So, just... I have to give a disclaimer. This match is brutal. So much blood will be poured. So much violence will be talked about. So, if you're not a fan of that, here's a real quickie. Nick Gage loses a death match to Chris Jericho, and it sets up the main event. Which, the main event, MJF talks about who Jericho will be facing next week. I won't spoil that, but if you want to know, tune in next week. Thanks for watching. This we'll have one uploaded. What is today? Today is whatever. We'll have one uploaded next Thursday. I'll have a Raw review Tuesday and a SmackDown review Saturday if you want to skip this gory fest. If you don't, I'm going to be talking about it in somewhat detail for 10 minutes. It's very bloody, very extreme. Alright, so off the bat, Jericho, no pun intended, tries to go for a tie-up, and Nick Gage just says, fuck that, and cuts him in the arm with a pizza cutter. Then they get into a slugfest, like a hockey beatdown, and Gage just fucking gets busted open, apparently, like hard way. So Gage drops him with a spine buster and starts to fight back for a bit. And, some more wrestling happens for a little bit, but not too long. Nick Gage ends up eventually looking for a light tube, which gets a fucking pop, and Jericho gets his bat at the same time. How does Gage respond to this? Oh, he pulls out more light tubes. I think it total is like 5 light tubes end up being in the ring. So Jericho cuts off one of the light tube spots to begin with a bat, and apparently he's bleeding because I guess Gage got him hard way too. Either that or Jericho gigged like preemptively for a spot later on tonight. Oh, let me just tell you, it's a fucking gusher already, but it's gonna get worse. Gage then chokeslams him and takes a pizza cutter to his head and does the pizza cutter gimmick spot. And it looks so ugly. And then, in the process of this, we get a side-by-side, and a Domino's commercial pops up. They said, allegedly, that this was not planned, but I'm calling bullshit. The fact that you have a pizza cutter spot, and then a Domino's commercial comes on, how is that not planned? They're probably just trying to save their asses, but whatever. I also love the fact that they have, like, Papa John's, Domino's, and I think, like, one other Pizza Hut. No, not Pizza Hut. One other pizza company. But that's just freaking rad. Anyway, during this ad, the pizza cutters use some more on him, and then Nick Gage goes under the ring to get a chair, and he tries to find another one, and eventually does. I wonder what he's going to do with those. We come back from an ad, and Nick Gage brought in a pane of glass, ironically enough, and he sets it on the chairs. So he sets Jericho up on the turnbuckle, so his position... my apologies, let me try this again. So he gets on the turnbuckle and sets Jericho up underneath, like, the pane of glass. And I guess he's gonna bonsai drop through it to, like, break it, and, like, the glass would shatter in Jericho's face. But wouldn't that hurt you more, because there's literally a piece of glass going up your ass? Whatever. No disrespect to Mr. Gage himself. I mean... You know, you do you. But Jericho, like, cuts him off and keeps him up at the top, does 9 punches, and then does a freaking Frankensteiner from the top rope through the glass panel. Glass shards are everywhere. The crowd's losing their shit. And then Nick Gage powers up after a 2 count. He's like, no. I've gone through worse than this. That ain't nothing. So Jericho tries to go for a code breaker, but it gets reversed in that style where they hold the legs and then drop him. Yeah, it gets reversed into that, and he gets dropped spine first onto the glass. And then he gets a light tube right to the back. Oh, did I say a light tube to the back? I'm sorry. He also got a light tube to the head. God, this is a death match if I've ever seen a death match. And I'm eating this shit up. And then fucking Nick fucking Gage tries to shank Jericho's, like, do the Abdullah the Butcher spot with the fork with a piece of the broken light tube, but it's too dull for him, so he throws it out of the ring, breaks a light tube, and uses that sharp piece of shard to make freaking Jericho gig. Then Gage looks under the ring and finds 2 pairs of 4 light bulbs duct taped together, so a total of 8 tubes, 4 and 4. Tries to crack Jericho with one, but Jericho missed him in the face, and then he ends up hitting him with a Judas effect, and then he uses one of the other tubes and wins as MJF shouts, "No, no," and then hits a GD as loud as possible on live TV. So as Jericho's celebrating and bleeding out of every pore possible in his poor body, he says that labor number 3 is a move from the top rope on your opponent match against none other than the Juice, Juventud Guerrera. This goes back apparently that Chris Jericho made a joke about him on the TV a while ago, and I just love the continuity of that. Thank you. And that's what we close with. It fades to black there as Jericho's bleeding out in the ring, basically. And I hate that it had to call freaking Nick fucking Gage in the long run, but silver lining, Jericho made the Painmaker gimmick not look dorky. He lost in a fair enough fashion. I mean, it wasn't just like a one and done. It wasn't a TV safe death match. I think this is like one of the first death matches we've legitimately had in a while. On like actually advertised on TV. I know. Technically, like, COVID happens / is happening in my opinion, and we're having open wounds, this, that, and another on national TV, much less in an area with a lot of people, But this is how I view it. Hopefully everybody there was tested and we're safe. And let's just hypothetically say everything went according to plan. Ignoring everybody's safety. That was one of the best ways to end the show I think I've ever seen. Even though Domino's got pissed off about it apparently. But, Crimea River Pizza Place. You have good food. Anyway, I'm going to end it there before I lose all my sponsors tonight. Like I was saying earlier when I gave the trigger warning to everybody, I will upload this from now on Thursdays. This was going to be uploaded last, Friday, I think, but due to me stalling, it's now, Sunday sometime. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you Tuesday for Raw, if you're interested. If not, again, Thursday for AEW, the follow-up to this one, and Saturday for SmackDown if you want. Anyway, thanks for watching. I love you all. Stay alive, stay safe, and take care of yourselves. Until next time, bye-bye.